Chapter 45. Matthias screamed aloud with fright inside the cat's mouth. It was sloppy and hot, pink and black, smelling indescribably as seeming full of huge yellow teeth. Put! The marmalade cat spat the young mouse out upon the barn floor. He lay wet and sticky, quivering all over, dust and straw clinging to his fur. Instinct warned Matthias to lie inert and play dead. He had no chance of making a run for it, surrounded as he was by the cat's paws. He could not stop his body from quaking badly. He lay staring into the feminine eyes, great twin pools of turquoise flecked with gold. The cat stared back at Matthias in disgust. Disdainfully, it wiped a festacious paw across its slow tongue and spat as if trying to rid the horrible taste. Ugh! I cannot abide the taste of mouth. Filthy little vermin. One can never tell what they've been. The rat's voice, though cultured, had a high, reedy tenor. It would be sounded comically under different circumstances. Matthias lay as still as possible. The marmalade cat prodded him with an indolent paw. Oh, get up, you disgusted little beast. I know you're not dead. Slowly the mouse rose to his feet. The cat seemed uninterested in him as a possible food source. Matthias's legs were shaking so much that he had to sit down again. They stared at each other. Matthias could think of nothing to say. The cat spoke again. This time its voice was indignant. Well, do you have nothing to say for yourself, Mouse? Where are your manners? Don't you think you should apologize for leaping into my mouth like that? Matthias managed to stand up. He bowed shakingly. I beg your pardon, sir. It was purely accidental. I fell, you see. Please accept my humble apologies. I am Matthias of Redwall, and I sincerely hope I have not disturbed you in any way. The cat sniffed distantly. Yes, at least you have some sort of decent upbringing, Matthias of Redwall. I accept your apology. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Squire Julian Gingerbeer. Pleased to meet you, Squire Julian, said Matthias politely. The cat yawned regally. You may call me Julian. The title is hereditary. I never wanted it. Squire of what? A broken-down ramshackle farm building and a stretch of river over yonder? One has no real friends, no trusty servants, not a mate for life for that matter. I suppose Gingerbeer line will become extinct when I die. Matthias could not help feeling a certain amount of sympathy for the lonely aristocrat. At least you seem to lead a peaceful life. Oh, spare me your platitudes, Mouse, Julian replied in a world-weary voice. What would you know about loneliness and trying to preserve one's standards in a decaying world? I say, do you think you could manage to clean yourself up a bit? You look an absolute fright, standing there all covered in dust and straw. While you're doing that, maybe you'd like to explain how you came sneaking about in my barn. Matthias brushed himself down. He related the object of his mission. Julian looked down at him in surprise. Captain Snoway, the old maniac. I've forbidden him the use of my barn, you know. What a thoroughly dreadful bird. He eats anything that moves or crawls. Atrocious table manners, too. And all that regurgitating of bone and fur? Ugh. Could you tell me where I might find him, please? Matthias asked. Certainly, replied Julian. Snow lives in a hollow tree these days. I stretch a point and take it to you. But please don't expect me to introduce you or even talk to him. When I borrowed Snow coming from here, we had a dreadful quarrel. Things were said that cannot be recited. I vowed that day never to speak to the old owl for as long as I live. Matthias sensed that Julian and Snow had once been good friends. Maybe a rift in their relationship was the cause of Julian's present state of fatalism and gloom. He decided wisely not to pursue the matter further for the moment. Riding upon the cat's back was a new and unusual experience for Matthias. Although he took great care to disguise it, Julian was quite an observant creature. As he strode with easy grace across the farmyard, he remarked idly, Your friends, the shrews, are out in force today. Ignorant little things, they think we can't see them. Give Log-a-Log and Gasm a message from me, will you? Tell them it is quite safe to come into the barn for hay and other items. Snow doesn't roost there any more. Goodness knows, I certainly won't hurt them. My diet consists of herbs, grasses, and an occasional fish from the river. I gave up red meats years ago. You might also mention that if they must come to my barn, will they please desist from arguing and fighting so much? There's nothing quite as upsetting as quarrelsome little shrews disturbing one's meditations. Matthias agreed to convey the message to the gorilla shrews. They arrived at a small overgrown orchard. Julian halted within 20 paces of a stunted oak. As he bade Matthias climb down, he cautioned him. You probably can't see Captain Snow, but he's watching us. I can tell you when he's at home. Be extra careful, Matthias. The old gluten will more than likely eat you on sight. Typical of an owl. Well, I'm off now. If you get a chance, say Squire Gingerbeer said he most certainly admit he was in the wrong and apologize. Only then can we resume our friendship and live together in the barn. Goodbye, Matthias, and do take care. Goodbye, Julian, and thank you. Matthias called after the retreating figure of the last survivor in the Gingerbeer dynasty. The young mouse unpinned Basil's medal from his tunic. He ventured cautiously forwards, holding it aloft. If Julian said that Captain Snow was about, then it must be so. An unearthly screech shattered the silence, followed by a rush of wings. The owl scooped out of nowhere straight for Matthias. Ducking and weaving as Basil had taught him, Matthias waved the medal and yelled at the top of his lungs, "Truce! Basil Stagg Harris sent me! I claim a truce!" He was knocked flat upon his back. Massive needle-pointed talons tore the medal from his grasp. Captain Snow landed in front of Matthias, raising the dust with his vast wings. The young mouse found it hard to believe that such an awesome and impressive bird existed. Captain Snow stood hugely tall with incredible wingspan. The owl's pure white plumage was broken by a few brown feathers on the wing and some dark spots in the crown. He had 6 dangerous talons in front, 2 at the back of his legs, and a sharp, heavy curved beak. His eyes were colossal, twin glowing orbs with circular black centers. Matthias continued ducking and waving, conscious that his life hung by a thread. Captain Snow flicked out a talon. Matthias dodged nimbly aside. "State your name and rank. Who gave you my medal?" snapped the owl. Still moving quickly and panting for breath, the young mouse, Matthias Mouse, warrior of Redwall Abbey. "The medal belongs to my friend Basil Staghair. He sends me his compliments, Captain, sir." "Stand fast," snapped the captain. Matthias stood rigid. The owl's talons started to itch forwards as if they had a life of their own. The young mouse moved steadily backwards away from the talons. Captain Snow licked saliva at the edges of his beak. It was plain that he desperately wanted to eat Matthias. "What did the cat say to you, Mouse? Did he mention me?" "Squire Julian says, sir, that if you were to admit yourself in the wrong and apologize to him, that you could both be friends and live in the barn again." As he spoke, Matthias had been moving away from the seeking talons. On the sudden instinct, he dived to one side, away from the murderous bird. But bilked of his target, Captain Snow madly tore at the grass and scattered dust. All at once, he wheeled about and flew upwards, perching at the entrance of his nest hole in stunted oak. "All right, you can stop running away, little warrior. Come back. I want to talk to you." Matthias stood in a safe distance away from the tree. Captain Snow shifted from one foot to another, muttering huffily, "Me in the wrong? Never. I won't apologize to that cat. I refuse to." When the owl had stopped arguing with himself, Matthias called out, "Captain Snow, sir, there is a question that I must ask you." The great snowy owl beckoned towards his hole with a sweeping wing. "Listen, Mouse, you can't stand down there shouting up at me. Why not come to my lair or nest? Then we can chat together in comfort." Standing on his tiptoe, Matthias could cap a glimpse of the nest. The walls were lined with all types of fur, shrew, mouse, vole, even rat. The skulls and bones of small creatures were hung on a marqueterie decorations. Matthias smiled nervously. If you don't mind, Captain, I think I'd prefer to stay where I am." The captain clucked ridiculously and pointed a talon. "So you'd prefer to stay where you are, sir? Well, I don't blame you. Right out with you. What's this question you want to ask me?" "Do you know of Asmodeus, the giant adder, and where I might find him, sir?" Matthias called bodily. The owl preened his breast feathers and cocked his head to one side. "If I know everything that moves within my territory, Mouse, yes, I do know of Asmodeus. I also know where he calls his home. Why do you ask?" "Because the adder has something that belongs to our abbey. An ancient sword, sir," Matthias replied. "Ah, the sword. I remember the night he came past here carrying it. You'd never get the sword from the Asmodeus, a puny little mouse like you. The adder has magic in his eyes and could freeze you like a statue. Huh, I wish mine could. Matthias felt his temper rising. He shouted angrily at the self-opinionated bird. I don't care if he's got magic eyes, poison teeth, claws of steel, or whatever. I mean to have that sword. I'll steal it from the snake or fight him for it. If I have to, I'll... The rest of Matthias's words were drowned out by the hysterical screeching of the laughter of the owl, who nearly fell from his perch with merriment. He blinked his tears from his huge eyes. You will what? Did I hear you say you'd fight Asmodeus? You, oh, little mouse, run away and play before I crack a wing laughing. Ha ha ha. Oh, dearie me. A fighting an adder? Oh, my, now. I've heard everything. Captain Snow laughed helplessly. Matthias yelled up challengingly. Ha! I bet you couldn't fight Asmodeus. The owl wiped tears with his eyes from the snowy wings as he hooted. I never tried, and I wouldn't relish the prospect, the little one. The snake and I would probably both end up dead. Matthias called mockingly. That's because you're afraid. Look, I bet I'll fight Asmodeus and win too. Bet you won't. Bet I will. Bet you anything you won't. Matthias pointed at the medal in Captain Snow's talons. Bet you that medal I will. The captain flung the medal backwards into his nest. Done. Hold on, Owl. But are you putting up this wager? The medal is not yours. You gave it to Basil Staghair. Spreading his wings to their incredible length, Captain Snow screeched, I bet anything. Whatever you say, Mouse. Matthias nodded. Oh, don't you want to take everything you own? Just say that you guarantee to return my medal and make a few little promises. Again the owl had a difficulty in controlling his unbridled hilarity. Ha, 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 the nerve of him. All right, my little warrior, it's a bet. Name your promises. Right, said Matthias solemnly. You must promise on your oath that if I win, you will never eat another mouse or shrew of any type. Agreed, chortled the owl. In fact, I'll go further. I promise that if you defeat the snake, I'll admit it was wrong that I was wrong to the stuffy old cat. I'll even apologize to him on bended knees. So there. On your word as a captain, Matthias pressed. The owl held on his wing as he recited, I swear by my captaincy and by my illustrious ancestors Nicotra and Glacier that I, Captain Snow, will return the medal and cleave to my oath if you should win against Asmodeus. The owl broke into laughter. Oh, ha, 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 he, ha, ha, he, ho, ho, ho. This is the easiest bet I've ever made. It's like taking the wings off of a dead butterfly. Maybe to you, sir, but not to me. Now tell me, where may I find Asmodeus, Captain? In the old sandstone quarry. You'll have to cross the river. There are caves in the quarry, passages too. Explore them. You won't find Asmodeus until you are least expecting him. By then it'll be too late. You'll be deader than an icicle in hell. Goodbye, Mouse. Matthias turned his back upon the snowy owl and strode off with a sting of taunts ringing in his ears. Nice to have my silver medal back, jeered the owl. I'll think of you when I wear it. You should have let me eat you. It'll save you a journey to the core. And I almost forgot. You won't be able to give the hare my best wishes. You'll be snug inside the snake. Matthias walked outwards, ignoring the cruel jibes of the owl, throughout the farmyard and across the grassland, not stopping until he arrived at the fringes of Mossflower Wood. The shrews broke covered and milled around noisily with their endless questions. Ha, so you got back then? Why didn't Snow eat you? Bet you never seen an owl that size before, eh? What news of Poison Teeth? Did you forget out where he was? Don't just stand there, tell us. A fierce quarreling broke out. Swords were being drawn at Matthias to sought out Log-a-Log and took the black stone from him. Shut up and stop fighting, you hooligans, or you'll get to know nothing, Matthias bellowed. An expectant hush descended upon the union members of the guerrilla shrews of Mossflower. Matthias found it hard to keep the contempt out of his voice. I found Captain Snow. Actually, I was led to him by Squire Julian Gingerbeer. Does that name ring any bells? There was an embarrassed shuffling in the ranks of the listeners. Many turned their eyes to the ground, particularly Gowsam and Log-a-Log. Matthias folded his paws. He stared about in disgust. Oh, yes. I'd just like to thank you all, especially you, Gowsam and Log-a-Log. What a sly, nasty, despicable thing to do, sending me into the barn without a single word of warning about the cat. Log ripped the cloth band from his brow and flung it down. He took the stone up in his paws. Matthias, I speak not for only myself, but all of the guerrilla union, who speak our minds. We forgot about the cat. You see, we are shrews, not only by name, but also by nature. We argue, quarrel, bicker, and fight so much among ourselves that we lose sight of the important issues. That is the way it is with us. Please accept our apologies from a friend. Matthias returned the stone. I forgive you this once. You say you are serious and call me friend. You tell me that you forget. Now let me tell you, I am a Redwall mouse. I always remember who my friends are. I never forget an injury done to me. However, we say no more of this. You must listen to me. What I have to tell you is of great importance and can change the life of every shrew here. Captain Snow has told me that Asmodeus lives in the old sandstone quarry across the river. He has given me his promise on an oath. If I defeat Asmodeus, the owl will never again take the life of a shrew. The astonished hubbub had died down as the young mouse continued. Think about it, guerrilla shrews. It would be a double blessing for you. With Asmodeus dead and Captain Snow held to his oath, you could live in safety from both. And while I'm on the subject, my friend Julian the cat is quite harmless. He will not hunt you. Any time you need to take something from the barn, you have his permission to take it, provided you do so quietly, no fighting or arguing. That is all I have to say to you, save for one thing. Lead me to the quarry. Matthias stood patiently waiting as a subdued hubbub conversation went on all about him. Surely they could not refuse so generous of an offer. He tried hard to pick up the threads of the talk. Some seemed all for it, but others were apparently reluctant to trust his word. Finally, the small, militant-looking shrew came forward and picked up the stone. He addressed Matthias in a very official manner. Our rules say that the quarry across the river is not shrew territory, Mouse. Therefore, we cannot go with you. Log sprang forward and dealt the speaker a mighty blow, laying him flat across his back. You cowardly, ungrateful little fool, cried Log. How can you say such a thing for the warrior who is trying to do for us? The Gasm grabbed the stone from the ground. Stop, Log. You have no right to strike a comrade. He was only stating the facts. Our guerrilla union rules clearly state that no member can be forced to venture beyond official shrew boundaries. Before Log had a chance to reply, a riot broke out. Shrews were kicking, punching, arguing, screaming, wrestling, and shouting. The edge of Mossflower Wood was in pandemonium. Matthias held up the stone and tried shouting above the melee. His voice was lost in the uproar. Angrily, he grabbed the nearest shrew and shouted, Listen, you, tell me which direction the river is, or else... The struggling creature pointed a paw to the northeast, before wriggling from Matthias's grasp to dive headlong into the fray. Fury took hold of the young mouse. He waved the stone and cried out, Go on, fight, them like little fools, you and your bossy little union. I don't need any of you. I'll go in it alone. And he hurled the stone with mighty effort. It flew over the heads of the retiers, disappearing into the woods. Matthias turned on his heel and stormed off towards the river.